if the wife is home more than the husband? What should the husband's role be in parenting? And we will start with none other than Rabbi Klatzko.
This is actually a really, it hits home, this question, because I do travel. I travel a lot, it's my job. And a few times a year I'm away for 2 weeks at a shot. And when I'm not on one of my 2-week trips, I'm usually away from, Sunday night until Thursday night. I travel, that's what I do. So what's my role in parenting? And the answer is my role is everything. And it's got to be. I learn a lot of lessons from my own children. My children, Baruch Hashem, we can learn from our children also. And I have a child, his name is Yedidia. Yedidia is married, and he lives in Neve Yaakov. He has 4 children. And Yedidia is a big masmid. It's a big masmid. So he gets up at 5:45 every morning, and he comes back from Kolol at 10 o'clock at night. It's a big masmid. And right when he comes home, he tells his wife, every single night when I come home, I will do the dishes, sweep, and make lunch for the kids for the next day. And she knows those 3 things. She doesn't have to do dishes at night. She doesn't have to sweep up. She doesn't have to make lunch. And what I learned from him is maybe he could say, look, I can't do it. You want me to sit and learn? I learned Torah for so many hours, Basmada Rabbah, lots of Asmada. So, I'm doing mine. You take care of the house. But no, he never looks at what he does in place of parenting and in place of being a spouse. So it's challenging. If your job happens to be that you're away a lot, so it's challenging. So you have to rise to the challenge. You have to push yourself extra and be there for your kids. Now, I've learned in life that there's always a reservoir of energy that we own that we could tap into. If the circumstance demands it, if you were to have a big business deal, even if you were exhausted, even if you were in bed, we have a very nice fellow. I don't want to say his name because he's mak, but he's a big tzaddik. And he gives us extra food from smachot. So he goes to different weddings and he gives us extra food. And we have, 70, 80, 90 people for Shabbat each week. So we have a big Shabbat. And it's very expensive. My wife makes 300 meals a week. So it helps when there's extra food. So sometimes my wife and I, we went to sleep, go to sleep, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 11:30 we get a call. He just collected the food from a nice wedding. There's sea bass, and there's salmon, and there's chicken, and there's pepper steak. Can you be downstairs in just 15, 20 minutes and collect the pepper steak and the sea bass? So what happens? What happens is we get downstairs, we come downstairs, we find that extra energy, and we fill up our freezer with good food. You know why? Because food costs money. And that energy we find because it's worth it. Things that are worth it, we find the energy for. Things that are worth it, we find that energy. And our children are worth it. So when I come home from a trip, and my wife knows this, I can come home from a 2-week trip, I'm a shmata, I'm a rag, I'm so tired. I just flew back from Eretz Yisrael, and I didn't sleep for 48 hours because we had a big banquet the night before. But I know that my kids need my undivided attention from the moment I walk out of the car. So every trip, I take a deep breath, and there they are, and they have their signs, welcome home, Tati, welcome home. And for 2 hours, I just play with the kids. And then they go to school. I let them go to school late the day that I come home from a trip. and then I go to sleep. I'm not telling you this to pat myself on the back. I'm telling you this to let you know that you have a reservoir of energy and you have to use it wisely. And using it on the kids is the wisest way to use it. So if you're the kind of parent who's not home a lot, when you have those opportunities, that's the way your life is set up. That's how it is. That's parnasa. When you come home, you don't have the luxury of taking off your shoes and having quiet time because you worked hard. You say, I need to go on the couch, don't bother me. No, you don't have that luxury. You set up your life that you shouldn't see your kids a lot, so when you come home, you don't have the luxury of me time yet. There's no me time. You come home, there's children time. And you find that reservoir of energy, and your children will have good memories, and they'll know that, yeah, Tati or Abba or Ima wasn't there all the time. They had to work, but when they were there, they were there. And I'll tell you one last thing. This is what I told this last year when we spoke, but I say it again because I think it's such a good idea, and that's why I like to share it. On Friday night, after the meal, when most people are tired, I go up and my kids come to the bed and we play for hours. That's what we do. So this Shabbat, we had 75 guests. I just ran from a Shabbaton. 75 guests. We made a nice Havdalah. I said goodbye to my guests. I ran here. Very busy Shabbat. Friday night, we ran a Kalbach Minyan. But after the meal, spent a few minutes with the guests and I said goodbye. And I sat up, my kids made plays. You dig into the reservoir of energy that Hashem gave you and you use it wisely.
Thank you. That was an amazing answer. You were the right guy to answer that. You know, well, I was trained early on in marriage. One of the best marriage advice that I got is when I come home and I see something going on at home and I don't necessarily like it, like my wife's parenting a certain way, and if I have a different idea, that is the worst time to me say, why are you doing this? This should be done the other way, right in front of the children. It's very important not to contradict the spouse. If you have any issues, you can discuss it later. Maybe they have very good reasons for it. The kids should not see the parents really contradicting each other. You don't have to agree. Obviously, we don't agree on everything, but just discuss amongst yourselves and have a unified front for the kids. Very, very important.